Hi Pisces, this is your August 2024 reading. Saturn, planet of trials and tribulations and tests, has been retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So I know July was kind of challenging, but at the same time, you really believe in what you're doing. And although July came with some hardships on the surface, on a deeper level, you kind of know you're on the right path and following something. Maybe it's your heart, it's your inner self, your highest self, whatever that may be. And that has kind of instilled a great amount of faith that even though things were hard in July, you were pursuing something from your heart. Now, things change in August for the sign of Pisces. That is because Saturn is going to be squaring to Jupiter in the month of August, precisely on the 14th of August. And yeah, Saturn is kind of like the heavy hitter, but because it's answering to Jupiter in Jupiter's sign, that is going to be more about a test of faith this month. Seven of Pentacles with the Fool card and the Four of Swords. Also the Wheel of Fortune, Two of Swords, and the Tower. Yeah, so this is kind of representing the change that occurs around the 14th of the month. Also the Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter, so that's that kind of energy of things about to shift, and the winds of change are here in August. I'm a Pisces myself, and when I pulled my card spread that I do at the beginning of every month, I got the Wheel of Fortune, I saw the Fool, and I saw the Four of Swords in there for myself, so that's pretty cool. Knight of Cups, which is coming through as a message from your highest self, and it is mutable water, the Pisces card. The highest self is saying keep doing what you're doing, okay? The King of Rods is here, nice and powerful. The Moon, which is the Pisces major arcana, you're all over this, Pisces, like you're really coming through with a very strong channeled message this month, so I'm so excited to get into it. Finally, we're closing this reading with the Page of Rods. Before I go any further, let me just say that you can always find an extended version of this reading on my Patreon channel, and I will be just linking that down below. All right, I'll leave that with you there. And this Temperance at the bottom of the deck, the path in the background, right? It is the road less traveled. It can be something of a pioneering path to take, or something that just doesn't always fit into a regular box or stay between the lines. But the highest self, the Temperance card, represented maybe by this angel here, there is some sort of a guidance, and it's coming from within you. You know, it actually doesn't necessarily have to be this higher power external to you. You know yourself that you're making the right choices at this time in your life, and it is the road less traveled, but nonetheless it's the right path for you. Okay, let's get into this reading. Before I start talking about the cards, on the 14th of the month, Saturn, which has been retrograde in the sign of Pisces, presenting with it some limitations, blocks and obstacles for the last few months for you. Because it will be meeting a square to Jupiter, planet of expansion, opportunity, luck and good fortune overall on the 14th of the month, this is when you are going to have your kind of last test of faith on this particular issue. And the reason Saturn will have to answer to Jupiter now is because Jupiter is ruled by Pisces. So Saturn is retrograde in Pisces, but that's Jupiter's territory. So Saturn, you're going to have to do what Jupiter wants, whether you like it or not. Probably not, knowing Saturn and Jupiter's relationship, but that's how it is. So until the 14th of August, there's been like testing energy, and that's the Seven of Pentacles right here in the center of your reading. Is this worth it? Am I doing the right thing? The Seven of Pentacles has planted a lot of seeds. It's nurtured, it's attended to, it's poured all your focus and energy into something. And now the question is, was that enough? And is it going to bear fruit? Is this harvest going to even be worth it, if anything at all? So at the threshold of the Seven of Pentacles, right before you transform, Fool card coming beside it, right before this actually begins to show a beginning, like show a path forward, you are at this threshold of doubt, sometimes of frustration, right? And that's Saturn retrograde. It's super frustrating. It's like a brick wall in front of you that has seemed insurmountable until now. Because if you remember, we're going to go back a little bit. It was December 2020. Jupiter and Saturn, which are the planetary bodies associated with this reading for me, they met up for the first time in a really long time. I believe it was a 30-year cycle. They hadn't met for 30 years, 29. They met in the sign of Aquarius in December 2020. So what that did was start a huge new storyline in your life. And for the past 4 years, because it happened very much at the end of 2020, let's say it really started to play out in 2021. Since the year 2021, there has been this major theme in your life. And now, recently, it's met its first major challenge for you to overcome. And the frustrating thing about how this has all seemed to you so far, as I said that it was 5 minutes and 55 seconds. I don't know if you're into sequences or anything like that, but that is a sequence of change. So until now, the winds of change of August that are presenting, there has just been like block after block, and all of a sudden, the Tower card with the 14th of August rolling around, you're actually going to be presented with energy, drive, opportunity. Maybe it seems random, maybe it seems fated, destined, or whatever, but it is in highest and best, and it is synchronized for you. It all comes together, and you're given this drive, Mars and Jupiter expansion, this kind of optimistic aura around you, or force from within you, that is actually now about to overcome the threshold of challenge, of limitation, of blockiness. All right, and that's the astrology, okay? And it kind of is represented here in the cards. There has been doubt, Two of Swords. That's the card of indecision, of hesitation. It's coming up in your recent past, blindfold on. Some of you not facing reality, Pisces. You know, am I kind of being a little bit shady to us Pisceans here? But obviously there is the positive side of being imaginative, creative, and a visionary of the signs, because you are imagining your reality, and reality starts with that imagination, to kind of clunkily and messily paraphrase an Einstein quote, who I believe was a Pisces. And are we keen on Einstein? I don't really know, but who knows nowadays. But the Two of Swords is basically saying that you are now taking the blindfold off. You're seeing yourself clearly, thank goodness, but you're seeing the situation around you clearly, your part to play in it, where you have actually placed yourself into this situation. You're no victim, Pisces. You put yourself here and you did this. And the Two of Swords is all about you seeing the situation clearly now, and with that becomes this sort of agency now that you have to kind of roll with the winds of change that I'm expecting to see that in August, because I saw this Wheel of Fortune card. It came up for myself in the highest self position when I read for myself in August. And as a fellow Pisces, I was like, okay, August is going to be a pretty big month with a lot of opportunity for change, and finally this breakthrough, and the test of your faith pays off now in August. So you've been unsure, you've been insecure. Deep down, the Fool card, that like really just like boundless optimism and good faith and belief and led by spirit and all of those beautiful things. I mean, deep down on a soul level, which is major arcana, like you knew you were doing the right thing. Temperance at the bottom of the deck. You knew you were on the right path, the higher path, but you couldn't help the very human experiences of indecision, doubt, hesitation, insecurity creep up and creep in. But the indecision is in the past position. The emotion you're dealing with currently seems to be insecurity, frustration, or just impatience. Pretty soon, I guess quite imminently, you take a little rest. Four of Swords. Rest is on your mind. It's in the conscious position. You need to take a break from everything now and just reset. 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 hours. You just need, I would say, like, for now, you need like a 4 to 7 day cooling off period from when you see this reading. And in that cooling off period, something begins to unfold, not necessarily behind the scenes. It might be kind of obvious to you, but it comes with the Wheel of Fortune. Let destiny or fate, or let's call it the universe, work in that kind of for you in this synchronized force or fashion that is going to activate what the Fool card's journey is next. This is the first card of the deck. This is the new chapter. This is what happens next, what's starting for you. And you know, I actually got this card in my past position in my August. I don't really want to make this about me, of course, but what I took from this, and I want to reiterate, was I have recently just had a new beginning in my life, and I'm about 4.5 months into this new beginning of being a new mother for the first time, and that was kind of behind me. It's like, not that it's not new for me anymore, but the most newness of that has already been experienced. So currently, recently past, and for the next month at least, there is this energy of figuring out what is a fresh start for you, a clean slate, and really embarking on what feels like forgiveness, cleansing, clarity, a do-over. When I see the Fool card and the Four of Swords together, I say it's time to reset, recalibrate, and wait until the next steps present themselves, because they will, okay? Boom. Okay, let's see what's happening next. We have the Tower card. Okay, let's not freak out about the Tower card. To me, the winds of change, as they kind of are swooping around here now in the elements around me, that is what's coming up around the 14th of the month. From the 14th to the 19th of August, there is a lot of activity happening in air signs, funnily enough, and we see that wind blowing now. The Mars-Jupiter conjunction is happening in Gemini, and fellow air sign Aquarius, well, that's where that full moon on the 19th is occurring, along with lots of other shenanigans going on in Aquarius. And I'm sure if you want to get into more depth on the astrology, we can talk about it in the extended, but you could also just type in your favorite astrologer's name on YouTube, and I'm sure that they're doing a recap of that kind of Aquarian energy that's coming through. I'm not necessarily here to talk about that today. What I will say about that is that the storyline that began for you, it started in December 2020, but let's say it might have been more noticeable for you in 2021, playing out then. There is something very related that's happening on the 14th-ish of the month, which presents this kind of like, it's the first challenge in a big way, but it's not a challenge that this is surmountable, you can overcome it. And just pay close attention to what's going on around the 14th, 15th of the month, and how much you've grown and changed and reshaped, restructured. That's all this kind of Saturn retrograde language: reshaping, restructuring, rebuilding, how you've rebuilt yourself and the structures around you. And Saturn represents like a three-dimensional reality. What does your reality look like, and how have you actively molded that? Tower card. Be flexible, Pisces. I know you can do that because you're mutable water, so you can adapt to anything. This is going to be a time where you're needing to adapt, because life is changing around the 14th of the month, and it's all in relation to what began in 2020, end of the year, and it's all in relation to the part you played in shaping your reality. And now that Saturn is retrograde in the sign of Pisces, it's almost like Big Daddy energy Saturn coming back with the clipboard to check off, okay, how's Pisces doing on the dreams and aspirations that, we're budding and building over the last 4 years? Are they taking care of their mental health and rest and recuperation? How is Pisces, career going? How is Pisces kind of like chasing down their goals and ambitions? So it's going to be a little bit of a kind of site inspection, if you will, around the 14th of the month, and things might shift and change and be a little bit more surprising, Tower card energy, if, for instance, Saturn is less than impressed, and there might be this kind of impetus then for you, though, to rise to the challenge and change things. Remember, Saturn has to answer to Jupiter on that day, and Jupiter loves Pisces. It's your ancient ruler, so they want more faith for you. They want more belief in yourself. This kind of symbol of, like, I suppose, just believing, and faith. It's so hard to define, isn't it? Because you really have to experience faith to know it, or something like that. Anyway, so romance, and if we're talking about love and romance, well, we see the Knight of Cups. There is time for that. It might not be in August necessarily, but there is time for the consideration around that, romanticizing about that, and dreaming up what you would like in terms of romance in your life. If you're single, this is a good month to kind of put yourself out there, I think, and put the feelers out. It might not be a full rush in energy, or if you do meet somebody, that kind of might be what it feels like, just very whirlwind, almost fated, and that's fun. Lean into that. For those of you who are single and just not necessarily looking for love right now, there is still this energy of romance in August, and it's not like romance happening here and now in August. It's like a future romance or something, like you're envisioning, you're imagining, you're planning or idealizing future romantic plans. Maybe watch a nice movie, get immersed in the arts and nature. That could be part of your rest and relaxation era, who knows. But those of you who are in a relationship, maybe there has been a little bit of a lack of romance or intimacy and connection, and August is a time where you want to start communicating on that and getting clear with yourself how you would like to cultivate that within yourself so that it can flow out into your relationships, because those relationships are just a mirror. If you're complaining, that things haven't been as sexy or as romantic lately, well, that's going to have to start with you. Start to see yourself in those ways again and to cultivate that energy around you. And chances are it won't be very long for that to spill over to the relationship itself. So the King of Rods. Okay, so in your environment, there's a person coming in. This could be for some of you, this kind of romantic, passionate, attractive energy that I do see. Or it could just be a helpful, doesn't necessarily have to be a fire sign guy like this King of Rods, but I would say they're a little older than you, and I would say that they're confident, magnetic, attractive. So that could be some way that you will be able to identify this person coming in. They don't have to be a Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries, but they could be somebody who really draws you in. They're here to help. They're here to do good things for you, and they're here to they're here to, I don't know, I guess make things seem more possible, make things seem more aspirational, a contract, a client, a professional that makes it all worth it. The Moon card. Okay, Pisces. Let's talk about the Moon card. It's in your hopes and fears. I'm not reading it as a hope, sadly. Unless some of you are like at the stage where you're like, I'm in full surrender. When I spiral, I'm just spiraling, and that's okay because I know that there's a cushion and a landing pad when I make this leap of faith. I know there's a trampoline at the bottom to collect me and bounce me to a higher height. Some of you might be there, okay, and that's wonderful. And that is the highest kind of manifestation of Pisces energy, is this trust, belief, and hope and surrender to something beyond ourselves. It's the sign of spirituality. So there is that here in a hope that the Moon card is here as medicine this month to say, how can you test yourself in your spiral and in your trust sort of mode and in your surrender. The other maybe majority of us watching are going to have this Seven of Pentacles and Two of Swords amplified. There are ways we can mitigate this, and I'll talk about that after, but the propensity to spiral is the Moon card's territory. And when do we spiral? Well, when things are uncertain, when the outlook or the outcome of a situation that we have a lot maybe riding on isn't clear, where we don't know where we're going next on this journey. And if we don't know if we've done enough, if we don't know if we've done the right thing, or if we're blinded to ourselves and others and we're not seeing things clearly, caught up or swept up in any delusional thinking, then the Moon card is going to feel much more fearful indeed. So this will look like insecurity, but mainly just fears cropping up, and that can happen this month. How to mitigate that if it does happen? Four of Swords. Rest, relaxation, reset. Take 4 to 7 days off what you're doing, and that's not going to be possible for everybody. We have to work, we have to care for others, we have life to attend to. I get that, but carve out 4 minutes to 7 minutes in your day if that's all you can do. And dream, do what you do best. Dream, imagine. There is so much benefit of daydreaming. It's so enriching and it's so productive. And I think we should unshame ourselves, Pisces, when we hear like, Pisces, it's, a little bit out there, it's a little spacey, it's a little idealistic. Yeah, thank you. That's really nice. I'm so glad you noticed. So reclaim your beautiful sensitivity, your romantic nature, your expansive, visionary, and compassionate, kind heart this month in the face of any insecurity. By the end of the month, though, I feel like that really does you very well, because we're ending the month with something that feels like it feels like shouting from the rooftops, honestly. This is a very vocal energy, and it's a very expressive and sharing energy. I mean, I feel like you've got an idea or an inspiration or some sort of a product or a launch, or there's just something that you can't wait to talk about, and it's very inspiring to yourself and others. So the Page of Rods is about a message that you share or communication that you receive at the end of the month, probably at the tail end of the month, Pisces, for many of you. Mercury will be direct from the 29th of the month onwards, and that's just going to be a much more unblocky communication zone, let's say. But basically, Mercury just stationed retrograde yesterday, so there could be kind of miscommunications, and that's why it's always good to rest and pause and kind of like repair communication for the most part of August. There's a sense of clarity, optimism, fun, and lightheartedness that emerges for you at the end of the month, and it comes with a very special message, communication, idea, or conversation at the end of the month. We'll get all into this more in the extended, of course, but if this is all you're sticking around for today, I thank you so much for watching. I hope August is an amazing month for us all, and I would love if you would share, comment, like, subscribe. Any of those things to help this channel grow would be much appreciated. See you soon, Pisces.